Well, good evening, everybody. YouTube. Yep. Hang on, where are you? There you are. I found you. It's a shame that not much is happening, but we will see. Right, I'm gonna just get my buttons all sorted. There we go. How was the stream? Is Pyro spinning in this lobby? No, this is Group B, unfortunately. This is not Group A. We've got the delightful joys of... Where is he? Well, we've got delightful joys of Ross. Right, can I just double check with you, Viking? What's the stream like? Is someone eats shit behind Ross? Is it good? Is it lagging at all? Is it solid? Because if it's lagging, then I've got about 5 minutes to try and fix the problem before we start officially. Stream fine, lag seems to be on the car's end. Yeah, okay, we're agreed. Right, whilst... Okay, well, whilst there's a few of us in the stream, welcome to day 2 as Aslam eats shit on turn 1 and 3 goes past it, first time ever. Welcome to day 2 of Champions Cup. This is Group B. This is the second of third groups that I will be covering. Let me just get back to the teams. So in Group B we have got Uber, which is captained by Tinja. We got... Yeah, it is. We got Caterpillar, which is captained by Campale. We then got MS Teams, which is captained by Fancy, and then we got Oreo, which is captained by Gills. So, running through day 2, we got 2 races this evening. The first one, obviously, I'm just going to change because these carts are extremely loud. We've got 2 tracks for tonight and 2 races tonight. The first one is Blue Moon Infield B, and we're in the go-karts, obviously. So we've got 5 minutes of qualifying followed by 24 laps. It says 1 Joker lap required, cannot be taken on the first or the final lap. I'm guessing the Joker lap is the pit lane. I will actually just message Iggy quickly. Okay, so Evening Chaos. The game volume is a bit too high compared to your voice. Let me come out. Let me go up into my settings. I'll try and turn down some bits. Audio. Let's try and turn you guys. Actually, no, you should be. No, we're not playing copyright. Let's try and turn this down a little bit. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. That should be okay. Let's see how this runs. Let me know if it's a little bit too loud. If not, I'll try and change with my microphone settings. That sounds better. It's not quite as loud this time. It looks like Lobbies A is not having a great time either. Right, so as I was saying before, I had to double check something. So this is Blue Moon Infield B. We have got a Joker lap in place. So the Joker lap is you have to do a drive through between lap 2 and lap 23 at one point. So go-karts cannot do a pit stop, so the Joker lap is a drive through. And then we will go on to a second track, which we'll come to very shortly. Now, looking at the team points, let me find one of the drivers. Oreo, Uber. So here we go, Acidon. We'll follow Acidon for a moment. So Team Acidor take the lead at the moment with 48 points. Team Oreo are in second with 44. We then got Team Cat in third with 43 points. And then bringing up the rear at the moment is MS Teams with 27 points. So MS Teams are in the danger zone at the moment. They are the lowest out of all the teams. They are the lowest scoring team. So MS Teams have got some work to do this evening. For the others, for Capello, for Aslan, and where's the other, one of the other drivers, and for Acidorn as he just eats shit in the final corner. They've got a little bit less pressure, but they've still got a bit of pressure because obviously they are quite close together. Much better, awesome. Right, we are starting very soon. It is 8 o'clock on the dot. So what sort of times? I reckon about the 102, as Capello GT on the left has sort of demonstrated. I reckon we're going to be looking at the 102s, maybe a 101. Who's okay? We got more damage and more spins out. So let's get cracking. We're going to follow. We're going to stay with Ross because I think Ross is a host. So then, before he gets out first, he does. So this time around, it's going to be all about that slipstream. It's going to be all about carrying the momentum. So it is going to be about minimising the brake, minimising speed loss. Who's eating shit and I can't see? Oh, Jack. Jack's eating shit and I couldn't see. Which is annoying. Right, let's follow Ross. As Ross is the first driver to come out the final corner, we'll stay with Ross for a lap and we'll try and go through each driver as it comes to it. Getting a good toe and a good slipstream effect coming out the final corner as Acidor makes a huge mistake. Got massive front suspension on both sides and bumper damage, and I believe damage might be on heavy, so he might have to come into the pits. We'll stay with him for just a moment. Or does he carry on going? He's going to carry on going. He's going to give it a crack. It's going to harm his straight line speed though, because there's 97 miles an hour compared to our 108 just a bit further behind him. But let's go back further forward. Let's join Ross. So Ross, I believe in his VR headset, we're going to be able to see his head moving around a little bit, but he has got no mirrors, which means if Ross is going to get into a fight, he's not really going to be able to see too much around him. He gets a good final second to last corner, doesn't hit anything, doesn't clip a wall, gets a very, very good run. So does Fitz behind him. Everyone keeping it quite tight, girls coming through. As a lot of the drivers are in the slipstream of each other. So let's see what happens. Ross does a 103, Fitz does a 103 as well. Let's just let a couple of people come over, as Pasty does a 101.1, so Pasty takes provisional pole at the moment. We're going to just stay here. Let me just see. Qualifying's 5 minutes, so we're at 2 minutes 30 already. These guys have got maybe about another lap in them, as all the cat guys are all together. They're all trying to work together and push each other along. Oh, as the Irish of me, number 5, number 6, now number 6, and Minge gets sort of slightly pushed out. All these guys are squabbling and tussling for positions. Pasty's been hung out higher as we're hitting minute 3. As they're all tucking back into position, let's see what they can do on lap 2. Ross improves to 102.6, so does Fitz. And so does Den. I'm going to have to remember his name's Den before I start saying things wrongly. Let's have a quick look through the grid. So Pasty's in the lead at the moment, with the other cat, Go-Kart Kapil, in second. We then got Jack in third. At the moment, we then got Kapil in fourth. I'm just going to say ITM because I'm not going to be able to pronounce that last name. Apologies, my dyslexic and slightly autistic brain does not compete that. Kapil's in fourth, Aslam's in sixth. We then got Den in, Aslam's in fifth, Den's in sixth. Tim Gren is in 7th, Gill's in 8th, Ross is down in 9th at the moment. Out on his own, he's got no toe at all, so that's not going to help him, although he's just done 0.2 of a second faster as we're coming out onto the last lap for some of these guys. Tim Gren's down in 9th, Fitz is in 10th, Astledorn's in 11th, and Grin's in 12th, as we get 30 seconds left on the clock. Who's this? Aslan gets a little bit shaky coming out the final corner, hits the wall as he's got 20 seconds to get to the line. Pasty trying to open up the corner, he's going to stay behind ITM as everyone is on their final laps. Aslam did just about, as Ross has made a mistake. There's a huge gaggle of go-karts on the final corner. Capel makes it through, Pasty makes it through. I think it's going to cost him a little bit though. Let's see what happens as we come across the line for people to finish their last 9 laps. So Pasty still holds the lead at the moment. Can Jack improve? Let's follow it on board with Jack. Can he get any further up the... No, no one's improving at the moment. No one's improved. As all go-karts are now coming across, well, finally across the line. So, no one's improved. So, we have our grid. Pasty's in first. Hang on, I'll let the game cycle through. Here we go. So Pasty's in first for Cat, followed by ITM in second, who's the other Cat driver. Jack's in third, which I believe is the Oreo. And then we've got Kapil in fourth. Den, there you go. Den in fifth, followed by Tim Green. Den in fifth, Tim's in sixth, Aslam's in seventh, Gills is in eighth. Sorry, Ross is down in ninth, with Asador in 10th, Fitz is in 11th, and Grin for 12th. So that is our grid. Let's just let the final start. Right, let's get cracking. As we got a very strong headwind going into turn 1 to begin with. As we got 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Long hold and off we go. Let's get cracking as two people get in the background, get terrible starts. Everybody jumps into the slipstream. I want to see who gets a terrible start. Ross gets a position. It was Gills. Gills does not get away from the line at all, but we're going to go a bit further forward as Jack's trying to challenge the inside. Goes up the inside of ITM, so splits the two cat drivers at the moment. So the two cat drivers have been split by Jack as we come through 1 into 2. Jack all over the back of Pasty, and then it's now alongside as we're trying to go round the long way around this right-hander. Let's go back to ITM's point of view. Pasty still holds the right-hand side, but now Jack's going to have the inside line. ITM gets a great corner, slightly outdrives who's spun out. We got Tim who's spun out, so through goes Grin for 11th as Tim spun out. We're going to go a bit further forward though, as Capils are all over the back of Pasty. Pasty slots into his teammate Slipstream. It's going to get a nice big toe as we come down the back straight. Capil, the other cat driver, is slowly catching up. All three cat drivers are together. All three cat drivers are pushing each other, all going down the main straight. Jack's now falling down to 4th. So we've got a cat 1, 2, 3. At the moment, Jack gets the inside on Capel. Capel's been hung out wide to dry. Here comes Den as well. So we got Den and Jack side by side as we come up to turn 2 at the moment. Looking a bit further back, Ross is up to 6th. Alcedorn's up to 7th. Adams up into 8th. Gills is now in 9th position, followed by Fitz in 10th. We're going to stay with this top group at the moment as we come through the right-hander. The only right-hander, excuse me. Ross uses a lot of the inside curb. Hits Den as Den hits the wall. Does he have damage? He does have damage as well. Pasty and ITM are going to pull away from the group. They are out of slipstream range. So Jack is now out of the toe. He's also got damage. Capel's just behind him, giving him a little push. Ross comes in to do his Joker lap now. So this is what I was on about a little bit earlier. I'm going to try and keep on top of the comments as well as the race. Full throttle on the quick and causes stall. Fair enough. Oh, it's a go-kart glitch. Right, okay. I didn't realise that these go-karts had a glitch like that. So Capel now down to 4th. Jack's up to 3rd. Alcedorn's got a great run. So has Den. Den's going to give Alcedorn a little bit of a push to make it side by side, almost side by side. Going a bit further ahead, Pasty and ITM can try and work together as Den has a huge moment, slams himself into the outside wall and has a huge spin right onto the edge of the racing line. Going a bit further back, Fitz has the same problem. Grin's now up into 8th, Alison's up into 7th. Let's stay on board. Gills is up to 5th. Alcedorn's pushing Capel up to the back of Pasty. Pasty's lost the toe of his teammate up ahead, so it's Cat 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. Alcedorn's given Capel a push, who's now in the slipstream of Pasty as we come into turn 1. A couple of drivers have just taken their Joker laps, which is Den and Fitzo, who are near the back of the grid anyway. Ross, having done his Joker lap, is now just going to drive as fast as he can. Let's go a bit further forward. I would not want to be a gearbox in these cars, just being revved out at 6th gear the entire time. Lot of corner speed coming through the penultimate corner. Cat 1, 2 and 3 at the moment, all working together nicely. Tim's, excuse me, in 10th. We then got Fitz in 11th, being followed closely by Den. But let's go back up front, because it is still Cat 1, 2 and 3. Alcedorn's only just about hanging on to the slipstream, and I mean just. If he makes a slight mistake and that costs himself a 10th of a second, that's going to be it. He needs to slay in that slipstream of Capel at the moment, and he's lost it. So the slipstream has been lost by Alcedorn, although he's probably not too concerned yet. He's just got it back. He's got it back quite well, and he's got a very, very good penultimate corner. Great drive. Now he's in, very much in the slipstream of the drivers ahead of him. He's not going to be close enough to do anything. Capel, is he going to play the team game? Yes, of course he's going to play the team game. Gives Pasty a good push. Jack comes in to serve his Joker lap. Ooh, what's happened? What's happened? What's happened? As we've got Tim, who's just had a spin in the final corner. Den's dropped right back down as well. Gill's in 5th place at the moment, slowly closing in. Oh, I say closing in, the gap's starting to open up a little bit. He's in 5th at the moment, great performance at the moment, great drive from him. Aslam's just behind. And then got Grin in 7th, Ross is in 8th. That gap to P7 is only opening up just a little bit. Jack's just behind after serving his Joker lap as well. I wonder if all 3 cat drivers are going to try and serve the Joker lap at the same time. Aslam goes very high up on the bank and the kart gets a little bit unsettled on the separation of the bank and the apron. Ross keeps it tight. Jack lets it run up high and wide as well. So there's different lines being taken by different drivers. I'm going to go further forward because that's Pasty. Pasty's had a huge mistake. I don't know the buttons go and have an instant replay. I still haven't figured that out. I don't think I can do it. So Pasty's dropped out. He's now down to 5th position. He's lost a toe and he's going to be under threat from Aslam. Pasty comes in and takes his Joker lap. So, Pasty's now dropped right out of the top 3 running. His other 2 teammates are still up high, still up and running. Acidon not quite in the slipstream line, starting to lose out, and there's almost going to be a second, it is now a second gap between him and P2. Pasty comes out behind Ross at the moment. So Ross was the first one to make the Joker lap on lap 3, excuse me. And he's now the leader of the Joker laps with Pasty just behind him. Need a keyboard too. Okay, never mind. Okay, I need a keyboard. I need to save and spend more money on that I do not have. Anyway, that's not the point. Let's go a bit further forward as Grin and Aslam are now side by side going down the start-finish straight. Both Oreo drivers are having their own little battle at the moment. Let's see, it might just been a swap places because Aslam might have had a bit of a bad run. As Gills is just ahead of them in the other Oreo car, so Oreo 4, 5 and 6 at the moment. Let's go a bit further forward as these two are glued together. Oh, was that ITM who had made a slight mistake? No, he just went a little bit wider than Capel. Although Acidon has caught right back up, that gap has significantly dropped back down. But here comes a straight. And that gap is now slowly starting to open back up again. As Capel has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. In comes Grin. He's going to serve his Joker lap. Capel holds a slightly wider line to begin with. Has a nice, tight, slightly tighter line towards the exit. Not many of them going up as high as other drivers. Grin's going to come out. Ross is going to go past. Is Pasty going to be able to get past? No, Pasty's not going to be able to get past, but he has got the momentum. As everybody here knows, momentum in go-karting is the key. Let's have a quick look up front. Again, Asseldorn not quite close enough. That gap's now like opening up to a second, so we're going to come back, and we're going to come back to Pasty and Grin. As we've got two more drivers up ahead, we've got Gills and Aslam who've come in to serve their drive-through joker laps. Ross is going to quite easily outstretch them and pass them. Is Pasty and Grin going to be able to pass these two? Grin shakes to the right, tries to break this toe. Aslam's going to get passed by Grin because of the momentum. Can Pasty do it as well? Pasty's going to be able to get past Aslam as well. Pasty's got a lot more momentum compared to Grin, who's now very, very far on the left-hand side of this track. He's going to have to turn a little bit tight. He keeps a very tight line, which might cost him a little bit of speed. Let's watch from Aslam's point of view. Pasty now has the inside line for the one and only right-hander, but now Grin has got the inside for the left. Can Pasty try and run it around the outside? No, Pasty loses a little bit of momentum. Here comes Aslam. Aslam's not even going to push Pasty. He's going to try and get straight past, which he does, and he's going to push his teammate along. We'll stay here just for another little bit. These three are basically glued bumper to bumper. Aslam loses out the position to Pasty. Pasty goes around the outside for 7th position. Grin still in 6th at the moment. We're going to go a bit further forward as Gills is now caught up to the back of Ross, and Ross is in a very good position because he's, like I said, he's already served his joker lap. He's in a really, really good spot. ITM's about 1.5 seconds off the back of the top two. So it's Gills with Oreo, and it's Ross with, I believe it's Uber Eats. It is with Uber, not Uber Eats, it's just with Uber. You've got the other two Oreo drivers fighting Pasty at the moment. Pasty gets a very good run, goes around the outside of Grin. He's now got the two Oreo drivers behind him. They're going to slowly start to bump and push him along. Can Grin try and go around the outside? Aslam holds it high, tries to get a faster second part of the corner. Pasty goes very deep to begin with. Through goes Grin. Can Aslam get around the outside of Pasty? That answer is going to be a no. Just doesn't have the momentum to get the move done, so Pasty loses out the position to Grin. Going a bit further forward, Gills. Is Gills going to have a little look into the penultimate corner? He's going to stick his nose up the inside. Ross very firmly shuts the door. Gills has lost all the momentum as Grin goes into the back wall. Through goes Pasty, through goes Aslam. Is he going to be able to stay in that slip? No, he's not. There goes the slipstream. Aslam's losing out a little bit on the slipstream as well, but it's going to start coming back to him about now. Let's go a bit further forward. Capel has lost out 3rd position to ITM, who's lost out to Asseldorn, so this is something I completely missed. Asseldorn is now in the lead of this race, and by a considerable margin as well. These two have lost out the lead. It was on the previous lap too. Oh, Capel has a huge moment and off he goes. And he's deciding to do a donut in the grass on the infield toe. Capel has a huge moment coming out onto the penultimate corner. He's lost out so much time to the top two. Ross is very, very quickly catching up. Capel's surely going to come and do his joker lap. In he comes. So both the ITM drivers are in 1st and 2nd at the moment. Yeah, it's Gil. It's Gil's. It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's come a bit further back. Pasty, still in 5th, being chased down by Aslan at the moment in 6th. Grins in 7th. Capil's come out ahead of Jack at the moment, who's in 8th. Tim's in 9th. Tim's in 10th. Fitz is in 11th. And then we got Den, who's bringing up the rear at the moment in 12th. As we got these two glued together as Assador comes into surface Joker lap. So it's now going to be ITM's turn to do a very strong lap to try and open up a little bit of a gap. ITM's going to come out in a very good position actually. Let's see what Ross can do. Ross is definitely going to have momentum, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. Assador's got a very healthy, strong gap at the moment. He's now going to start building up that momentum again. Say it like Gilles Villeneuve. Alright, fair enough. Gilles. Is it Gilles? Other than that, good job on that. Good job. Oh, thank you for it. Right, let's see what Assador can do. As ITM still is going to go round, as he's had a little clip on the wall on the final corner. Is that going to impact his momentum? It is going to impact the momentum. Assador's now going to grab a little bit of that time that he lost during his pit stop. Ross is in 3rd, a very good stop as Gilles coming down the back straight in Ross's slipstream at the moment. We're going to come back to Pasty, who's in 5th, Aslam's in 6th, Grin's in 7th, Jack in his own little battle with Capil in 8th, and Capil's in 9th, giving Jack a good push going down the main straight. Capil now pulls to the inside. Let's jump on board. No, he doesn't pull to the inside, he just pulls a little bit to the left. Little bit of a lift, gets the nose turned nicely, goes up the inside. Jack goes up high as there's a tiny little bit of contact. We're going to come on board with, this is the driver I want to look at, with Tim, who doesn't really get too much involved, uses the slipstream from both of these guys, slots in the middle, is now the Oreo meat in the sandwich. Breaks a tad a little bit early, has a bit of a slide, but doesn't matter. He gets through, regains 9th position. Jack's still in 8th at the moment. We're going to go a bit further forward, check on the action a little bit further ahead. Gilles is in 4th at the moment. Ross is in 3rd. Assador's slowly taking down that gap, but not by much. Aslam goes up high and then comes in for a nice straight to second apex. Is that going to cut a little bit of time out? Not much. It's not going to be able to do too much with that. Grins, who's lost the slipstreams, just chasing on the back. We're going to come back to these guys. In battle for 8th position at the moment. Capil has the inside for the left. He's going to slot in behind these two. Going through the right-hander is Capil going to play the same trick again. He is going to play the same trick again. Not going to have a snap of oversteer this time, but these two, excuse me, are a little bit more wiser to it. Oreo hold 8th and 9th at the moment. Just going to take a drink whilst we're going down the very long main straight. That's better. So Tim goes up high to begin with. Can Capil get the car to rotate? He does get the car to rotate. There's no contact either, as he's now on the very, very left-hand side. Has to do a slight little lift to slot in behind and catch the slipstream again. He might try a little overtake going in to the penultimate corner, but we will have to see. Let's go a little bit further forward to begin with. Aslam still chasing down Pasty at the moment for 5th. Let's go a little bit further forward again. Gilles still chasing down Ross. Ross has got a very strong last corner, but not quite strong enough as that gap from Alcedor to ITM at the front is slowly opening up as we're on lap 20 of 24, so we've only got 3 more laps until the last Jokers can be done. Let's come a bit further back. Capil has gone through, he's now got 8th position over Jack and over Tim. I believe it was in the final corner. That's again something I missed, and my apologies. As Tim's got damage on the front, Jack doesn't have any damage, nor does Capil, so it's definitely on the penultimate corner. So Capil's up into 8th position at the moment. His teammate Pasty, who's in 5th, holding off Aslam at the moment. Let's go a little bit further forward. Gilles manages to hold on through the penultimate corner. Does he stay with Ross? Ross opens up that gap just a little bit. Let's jump to the top 2. That gap from ITM to Alcedor has opened up by another 10th or 2 that lap. Come a bit further back. Ross has made a defensive move to the outside wall. Gilles has a little look up the inside, is going to go up the inside. Ross has gone up very, very high. He's going to try and look at the straight and faster exit, which does Gilles try and cover off. He can't really cover it off too much as his cart's already under a lot of understeer as it is. As Gilles is now up to 3rd, Ross is now down to 4th. So it is Cat 1st, Uber 2nd, Oreo 3rd, Uber 4th, Cat 5th, Oreo 6th, Oreo 7th, Cat 8th. We've got MS Team in 9th and 10th. I believe 11th as well. Yep. And then we got Uber bringing up the rear. But we're going to stay with these guys at the moment, as Tim holds the fastest lap of the race at the moment. As Jack squeezes around Capil. Tim's given Jack and Capil a bit of a push each. He's now going to try and push his teammate along so he can get past. As Capil now falls down to 10th with 2 laps to go. He's got to redo all that work all over again. We're going to stay with Capil. Can he get the car to rotate? He does get the car to rotate as it's a tiny little snap in the mid corner. Tim is now going up the inside. Capil tries to follow. Forces Jack out a little bit wide. Capil now up to 9th, splits these 2 carts. We're just going to go forward a couple of carts as Aslam has now been passed by his teammate Grin. Grin gets a good exit compared to Pasty. Is he going to try and challenge around the outside? So we're coming on to lap 23, so ITM has to pit this lap, otherwise he's in risk of a potential penalty or disqualification for not doing his Joker lap, as the gap has opened up to 13.7 compared to over Alcedor. Gilles has dropped back down to 4th. Ross is now back up to 3rd. Pasty still just about holds on to 5th at the moment. Grin's going to try and go around the outside. Pasty firmly shuts that door. Grin not quite able to stick his nose up on the inside to try and get Pasty offline. Aslam's trying to catch up to the back of these 2 to give his teammate a helping hand, as Grin is now trying to get alongside. He has got alongside. There we go, that's a better camera angle. As in comes ITM. Oh, there's a little bit of argy-bargy through the final corner. Grin gets it all sorts of wrong, is now lost out a lot of momentum. He's now going to lose out on the slipstream. Pasty loses that momentum. Is Aslam going to try and drive around the outside? He is going to drive it around the outside, but crucially, let's go further forward. Where does ITM come out compared to Alcedor? I think it's going to be enough as we're on the last lap of the race. I think it's just going to be enough. Even Ross. Yeah, Ross is having a great race at the moment, but Gilles, excuse me, is trying to prevent him from getting that podium. It's ITM still just about in the lead by 1.6 seconds compared to Alcedor, who's in 2nd at the moment. Ross is holding on for 3rd as we're on the final lap of this race. We're going to... Pasty still holding on to 5th at the moment. Can he get around the final corner? cleanly. He does go around the final corner cleanly, but we're going to come to the front as ITM from the Cat team takes victory here at race 1 of day 2. Followed by Asador, followed by Ross, followed by Gills. There we go. Pasty's going to hold on to 5th and only just, with Aslan in 6th, Grins in 7th, Capil's in 8th, Tim's in 9th, Jack's down in 10th. There he goes. We then got 2 drivers that we've not really seen too much of this race bringing up the rear. We then got Fitz, who's going to... Yeah, okay, I thought he was going to go and Joker for then a second. He's not. He's already done his lap. As Fitz gets 11th. And then we're going to follow Den for the final corner. It's 10. It's going to kill a little bit more time. It's going to completely smoke out a go-kart and come across the line in reverse. Thank God he's not a Uber driver, because if he is, oh, he'd have so many tips, it's not even funny. He'd be rich. He'd be richer than some of our countries put together. No, not to that button. This is the button I want. So Uber holds 2nd and 3rd, Cat holds 1st, 5th and 8th, and Oreo hold 4th, 6th and 7th. So it's going to be quite an even point. I reckon it's going to be quite even across the board for these guys. If anything, it might be a slight advantage to Uber. And then bringing up the rear, we got the MS team who are in 9th, 10th and 11th. And then we got the final Uber driver bringing up the rear in 12th. So whilst these lobbies change, if anyone wants to go and grab a drink or anything like that, I'd recommend it. But whilst we're doing that, I'm going to go on to talk about the second track, as Den has left the lobby. Interesting. So the second track, we're going to Kaito Driving Park. We're going to be driving the new one of my favourite cars, actually, one of my actual dream cars, the Nissan R34 GTR, but this time it's the Z-Tune, so the 2005 Z-Tune. Very recently come out. So qualifying is going to last for 5 minutes with a 14 lap race. Tyres have got 8 times on them, so they're a little bit more than what we're used to in the main Monday races, and the fuel is 3 times. The available tyres are the Sport Softs and the Sport Mediums, and both compounds must be used. So the strategy for the next race, you could either do soft medium, medium soft, or you could try the soft and the medium, trying to get the medium to last as long as possible, or the medium soft. So there's potentially 4 strategy options you can go for. Let me just check the chat just to make sure everything is all hunky-dory. Evening. Why have you left, Grin? Makes more sense that we stay. On track. I love how the first thing I see is Moo spinning out on track. You're not in the Nissan race. Ah, okay. So we might have a couple of teams swapping out some drivers. So Spin is definitely one of them. He wasn't in the previous race. Moo was another one. So Moo was in the tier 4. He's tier 4 champion, who's now probably going to be promoted up a couple of tiers. And Spin did quite well in the tier 3 series as well. So those two drivers I know. No, I don't want nicknames. I want display info. This is the one I want. It's going to be a lot easier to see which team is who, which would be nice. Yeah, I was just looking at the fuel load as well, Spin. So, from the looks of things, we might be starting this on a slightly lower fuel load. But I could be wrong. So, we're going to let these drivers have a couple of minutes to warm up. New track, new cars, a lot quicker, obviously. As Fitz just clearly demonstrates, as goes completely into the wall in one of the hardest and trickiest braking, or a tricky braking zone. Who was that squealing tyres? Gilles. Spin you. Yeah. Here we go. Full tank. Full fuel tank is the word I was looking for. So might have had some settings mixed up from the previous race, which have now just been fixed and rectified. Hang on, how many Oreo cars have we got? 1, 2. Come on, Moo. Stop eating grass. You did that you did that in 2 races in tier 4. Come on, I thought you were a little bit better than this. We had a discussion about this. Okay, yeah, there is 3. It looked like the MS team's livery looked very similar to the Oreos for a second. How many drivers have we got left? So we just got Atadorn who to come out onto track, and then all drivers are out on track. There we go. Atadorn's out on track, so that's all drivers out on the circuit at the moment. Please keep telling me to not eat grass. I think he keeps forgetting. Of it, he's just at more grass again. Yeah, he does keep forgetting. I've never known a champion to get away with eating so much grass. Point proving again. There is a little bit of an inside joke with this because I commentated Moo for the entirety of season 19. So there is a little bit of an inside joke. Right, Ross is in the pit, so I should imagine we'll be starting the qualifying very, very shortly. Here we are. Make sure, yep, awesome. So, let's jump out on to Ross, who's going to get out first. Fitz is in second. I'm not going to go through the grid. This is pointless because we've still got 5 minutes of qualifying left to go. As Moo and ITM are going to have a little bit of a battle going into turn 1. I think Moo's just going to let him have it. ITM's going to go and eat some grass too. Spin's having a moment. So is ITM. As through goes Tim, who's going to get himself a little bit of clean air ahead of him. So for those who want to get around twice, they've got to make a bit of a lick on, or definitely, or at least once, maybe touching twice. You've got to get a lick on. Who comes out of the back? Aslam's going to come out of the back. He's probably going to maybe only go for one lap, as we're already a minute into this qualifying session. Asildorn's got himself a half-second penalty. Ross is in. Let's see where these guys go. Oh god, someone's found the horn. Oh god. So, is Moo going to try and follow Gilles for the slipstream? No, he's going to pull off. He's going to go for clean, much more clean and open air, which will probably be about here, I reckon, in a second. As Jack's going to try and go up the inside. This is going to cost these two a little bit of time, but now Moo gets a toe going down the front straight. So it's 2 minutes have been passed, so I reckon people might be lucky to get 2 laps in. Most of the grid probably will. Moo's going to follow Jack as long as possible. Still addicted to eating grass. Clearly he's not had much of a fill today. Who's that in the background? Spin's eating a little bit of grass. So's ITM. And so's Pasty. And so's Tim. Tim's eating a little bit of grass as well. Fitz has had a horrible couple of corners. So he's just pulled out of the way to let Capil through. Is he going to let Spin back through? We'll come back to that in a moment. Oh no, there's a little bit of contact between him and Spin. Spin might not be too happy about that. These two are still having their own little battle as Jack's gone off onto the grass too. Who's that? Ross has gone very, very wide. He's looking for a straighter exit as he's messed up his lap a little bit, I wonder. Moo's gone off the track again. I think I might stay here because I think that a little bit of, well, I say a little bit, most of the action's probably going to be here with these two. I think Astor might get a pretty quick lap compared to the rest of the grid at the moment. Unless Ross is looking at going for a fast lap this lap. Yeah, he's probably going for a fast lap this lap. Let's see what time he does. Yeah, 5 seconds slower than Asador, than his teammate. So we've got Capel in second at the moment. A full 1.7 seconds off. Excuse me, at the back of Asador, who's in an absolute stonker of a lap. Tim's in third, Spin's in fourth. Gilles is in fifth at the moment, who's got a very good run over Jack, who's all the way down in ninth. As Gilles does back off of it, as these guys are only just about going to get their second lap in. Gilles pulls off, lap completely ruined. Here comes Capel. Further up ahead, a car does not know what the chicane looks like. That's Ross. Ross has gone off. He's now called it back into the pit. So that's Ross's lap done as well. Capel's got a very good run compared to Jack, as he has to have a little bit of a lift. He hasn't got the car to rotate the way he wanted it to. As we're going to come on board with Asador for the final part of this lap. As Capel has to lift again, keeps having to lift in places he don't want to lift. Fires it up the inside of Jack, gets through past Jack. And fires out the corner, gets a bit of a push from Jack as well. So, Asador doesn't improve. Can Capel improve? Not really. Aslam does improve. Moo improves. Jack improves. As Tim gets a good draft from past, he does pull out. Doesn't improve at the moment. ITM improves up to second. Alcedon untouchable at the moment, half a second clear over Aslam, who's just improved massively as well. So Alcedon's untouchable. Insert generic message here, yeah, aye. So Alcedon untouchable here at the moment, with Aslam in second, ITM in third, Kapil in fourth. So it's a Cat 3 and 4, Uber 1, Oreo 2. Then we've got MS team of Tim in 5th, Spin in 6th, Gilles in 7th, Moose in 8th, Pasty's down in 9th, Jack's in 10th, Ross is in 11th, and Fitz is bringing up the rear for 12th. As we're going to rate for I don't know what. So even though Astrodor had a half-second penalty going on to that flying lap, he produced an absolute storm of a lap with a 1:43.6. A 1:44.2. He's the only driver to hit the 43s in this group, as the next driver was Aslam with a 44.2. 44.5 from ITM. And then everyone else was in the 45s, going further back, a 45.4 for Capel. Only a tenth of a hit against Tim. Spins in 6th, and then Gilles is in 7th with a 46. Moose in 8th, only a tenth of a second behind. And then Pasty's nearly 2 seconds behind with a 48. And then the final couple of guys are doing 48s, 49s, and 150. Fitz 7 seconds off. So unlike the go-kart where everyone was within reason, somewhat matched and close a little bit, this is going to be completely different. Yeah, Ross is having trouble with this car. Wouldn't be able to tell. Take a pre-race drink because I think I'm going to need it. So, just a reminder, he should start WRC. Yeah, he should start as WR. Moo should be in WRC. He'd be at home since he likes to eat grass and go off-road a lot. So just a reminder of this race's settings. Only the Sport Soft and the Sport Mediums are available. Both tyres have to be run. 14 laps around this track, as someone's already found the horn. I'm guessing it's one of these guys. 3, 4, 5 red lights. Let's see how well four-wheel drive manages with all these guys, as everyone gets a lightning launch. Someone in the background, one of the cat cars in the background, doesn't get a good launch. ITM's going to try and challenge around the outside of Aslam. I'll check people's tyres in just a moment. Aslam holds on at the moment. Kapil's in 4th, ITM's in 3rd, so the Cat 3 and 4 are still in the same spots. Finn spins in 5th, Tim's down in 6th, moves up to 7th, Gilles is down in 8th at the moment, but gets a good run over his teammate Moo as we come over the lip. Jacques is all the way down in 10th, now being passed by Pasty. Ross has got a terrible start. He's now down to him. Well, no, actually, no, he hasn't got a terrible start. He's still in the same place. He's down in 11th at the moment. He's on the mediums. Let's have a little look at everyone's tyres as well. So Jack and Ross are in the mediums. Let's go a bit further forward, as ITM has gone up into 1st. Aslam's down in 2nd. Alcedon's down into 3rd. So he's lost 2 positions over that. Over one particular corner. Spins having to defend a little bit further back. Gilles brakes very, very late, going into this hairpin. Ross is now down to 12th after being passed by Fitz. So Fitz is now up to 11th. Ross is not having a great opening race, but Fitz is on the soft tyres. Jack's on the mediums. Pasty's on the softs. Moves on the mediums. Gilles is on the mediums. Spin nearly goes into the wall on the soft tyres after being passed by Tim, but going a bit further back. Spin has gone wide on the corner. This is inviting Gilles up the inside, who's on the medium compared to the softs. So Spin's going to outpower him initially. Gilles holds a higher, slightly wider line. This might enable him to get a little bit of a better traction on exit, as Capille's now dropping down to 5th after being passed by Tim for 4th. So Capille drops down a position. He's on the mediums and Capille's on the mediums. Spin gets a great run. Manages to overtake Capille as well, but bear in mind, Spin, it's on the softs. So Capille not having a great second lap at the moment. Let's go a bit further forward. Let's check on our top 3. Astorn's got a half-second penalty. Aslam is in 2nd, and ITM is 1.5 seconds ahead of P2. So it's looking strong his way, and he is on the softs as well. So it's going to have a stronger opening couple of laps, same as Aslam. Astorn's on the mediums, which might explain why he's dropped down a little bit. Next person to be on the softs is Spin. You can hear the turbo whistles. Going a bit further back. Gilles trying to go around the outside of Pasty, or trying to defend from Pasty, who's trying to go up the inside. Moves now down into 9th. Pasty's on the softs, looking at a much more aggressive start. Goes out wide. Can he get the cut back? No, Gilles covers it off nicely. Going a bit further ahead, Tim tries to break the toe. Both Spin and Capille follow him all the way out to the right hand side. Just going to check on the front 2, as ITM has a little bit, I believe must have had a little bit of a moment going into turn 1. Has a big slide, massive slide coming out of the S sections. A very, very quick set of corners. Aslan doesn't have enough momentum, to try and go around the outside. ITM holds on at the moment. Let's go have to settle for 2nd just for a minute. We're going to have a quick look further back as Asadorn has another half-second penalty, which isn't going to help him at the moment. Spin's now up into 4th after passing Tim. Tim breaks a little bit early. We'll go back further forward. ITM's opening up that gap to 0.6 of a second, coming up into the hairpin. This is the camera angle I wanted. Fantastic camera angle. Going a bit further back, Capille goes up the inside of Tim. Capille manages to keep it up the inside as Gilles is now under pressure from Pasty. Gilles has got a half-second penalty. Pasty's not able to get a good enough drive coming out of the chicane further back, and that Moo is in 9th. And they've got Jack in 10th, who's got a half-second penalty as well. And looking at the back 2, Fitz is in 11th. Ross is having a horrible race. Not having the race he's looking for, all the way down in 12th. 12 seconds off the back of P11. ITM has managed to open that gap back out to just under a second, and now it's starting to close a little bit. Let's go a bit further back as Alcidor serves his penalty. This promotes Spin up to 3rd. Alcidor's down to 4th. All these cars taking slightly different lines, as in the background Tim ends up losing the rear and completely eats it into the wall. He's come back right onto the racing line as all the other drivers of Pasty, Gilles and Moo just about managed to avoid him. So Tim now down to 9th, lost three or four positions from that. Pasty now past Gilles. up into 6th. He is on the soft tyres. Altidor's got another penalty. He's got a 1 second penalty this time. So Altidor's not having a great race. He's got a penalty nearly every single lap at the moment, trying to chase down Capil. As Capil has a moment of tail sliding action coming out of the CS section of corners. This has allowed Altidor to get a good run. Downshifting very, very quickly, trying to get this car to stop. A stick with Altidor. Capil doesn't get a good exit of the corner, whereas Altidor does. Altidor doesn't send it up the inside. He votes to stick back. There goes the penalty. So, is this going to allow Pasti to catch up? God, are you not racing in the Champions Cup at all? No, I'm not. I didn't sign up. Well, initially I did sign up to race, but I had an idea for something, and initially I was going to completely come back out of it to do some testing for it, but and Iggy then asked if I could do some comms, which I said yes to do, and I'm now involved in it. So my plan to do some testing didn't really work. I now have to reorganise some testing at some point, which does involve some drivers. Going further back, Gilles has got himself a half-second penalty. Altidor's finally gotten through the first sector without getting a penalty. So, well done, Altidor. You've finally gotten through the first sector without getting a penalty. And the second sector, excuse me. Going a bit further forward. How are the tyres starting to look? The soft runners are probably going to look at coming in shortly. Where's the first medium? There's the first medium of Capel. It's probably starting to swing into the medium's direction. I wonder if some of these drivers are going to look at doing 7 and 7. Because I think the softs might be able to do 7. I'm not entirely sure. We shall see as the top 2 don't come in. Does Spin fancy doing something slightly different? Does Spin fancy trying to look at an undercut? No. Capil obviously stays out. So does Altidor. Everyone's staying out at the moment. Shit, excuse me. There's a clink of the glasses. Jack's going to serve his penalty through. Fitz just about manages to get past. And there's Ross bringing up the rear at the moment, slowly starting to catch up. Going further forward, ITM's got himself a half-second penalty, so he's going to have to start pushing for the rest of this lap. Aslan, just behind him, losing a little bit of time. They've got a 10-second gap to Spin, who's in third at the moment, who's losing time to Capel. Or a little bit of time, I should say. Spin gets a very, very lovely corner exit. ITM Altidor is losing a little bit of time. Pasti's in 6th at the moment. Tim's now got a half-second penalty. Gilles gets the corners. These couple of corners a little bit wrong. This is going to allow Tim to have a little look. Let's jump on board as we're going to go round the right-hander. Not quite flat for the mediums if you don't want to smash off and hit another driver. Gilles defends the line nicely, prevents Tim from getting a switchback. Going a bit further back. Whoa! Fitz has a huge moment, nearly goes into the back of Jack, his teammate, as ITM comes in on the end of 6th, the start of lap 7. So he's going to be the first driver to set off the sequence of pit stops, as Tim's got himself a 1-second penalty this time. Spin comes in, he's got a little bit more fuel than ITM. Pasti comes in too. Anyone else comes in? Only other one I could potentially think of might be Fitz. Ross may consider it. We're going to go a bit further forward though, as Moo comes out just behind ITM, who's come out on a fresh set of mediums and is ready to go to the end. He has got a little bit more momentum compared to ITM, but I don't think it's going to be enough because ITM's got much fresher tyres. Let's go back a little bit. What's going on back here? Pasty's come out just ahead of Ross. Ross didn't come in either, so Ross didn't fancy trying to do the undercut. Ross has got a very, very good run. He is going to go for a little move. He's going to try and go around the outside. Pasty has the inside line. Pasty goes very deep. Is this going to allow Ross straight up the inside? This is going to allow Ross straight up the inside. Pasty, can he get a good run coming out the corner? He does get a very good run. He's now side by side with Ross as we come downhill. Ross breaks a little bit earlier, but Ross has the inside line. Excuse me, Ross takes the line very, very well. Pasty looks like he outbrakes himself on understeers a little bit. Aslam comes in, does make his pit stop. Capel struggling to get around the last corner. He indicates to come into the pit. What does Asador do? Asador doesn't. Capel baits him a little. Well, I say baits him, doesn't. I'm not too sure if he did or not. So Asador comes in. So does Gilles. Tim stays out. ITM goes over the line. Where does this put him out? Aslam comes out way ahead. So we're looking at an P1 here at the moment. ITM still stuck behind Tim at the moment. Tim's on very, very old, used and dead sets of mediums, and here comes ITM going up the inside, now outside, now inside. So great move going side by side through this tricky S section to come over the hill. Now he's in hunt mode to go and chase down Aslam. Spin in 5th at the moment. Asador down into 6th, but he has got the soft tyres on. Spin has gone for the softs. He's going to do a 2-stop. He's just going to switch onto the mediums, maybe for the second to last or the last lap. So Spin's going to go super aggressive in this stint, unless I was mistaken, he was on the mediums. Let's come a little bit further back as Fitz is now in set 7. Gilles 8th. Pasty's in 9th at the moment. Moves in 10th after making his stop. Jacques is in 11th making his stop, and Ross is in 12th making his stop as well. So Ross is on the 2-stop. So I believe Jack might be 2. So interesting strategies being used by different drivers. Fit all over the back of Gilles as Capel's come in. That gap's not really changed for the top 2, it's kind of stayed the same. If anything, ITM's taken bites out of it, but very slowly. Asador up to 3rd, Capel down to 5th. Asador up to 4th, excuse me, Capel down to 5th at the moment. But Capel is on the soft tyres, ready to go to the end, whereas Asador is also on the soft tyres, but it's a couple of laps older. So this might turn to advantage Capel a little bit later. Let's come back here to this group. Tim, Moo and Pasty all glued together. Tim gets a very good run, hits the back of Moo, excuse me, who goes off into the barrier. So there goes Moo, who's now got damage on the front left. Pasty a little bit slow mid-corner, but he is on the mediums, whereas Tim has fired it up to the very tight, got a very good run, bumps into the back of Pasty. Hard on the brakes, Pasty can't quite get the car to turn initially. Tim's going to go side by side, get through and make the pass through the F section, so Pasty's now down to 8th. Tim's up to 7th. Pasty has a little bit of a tail slide coming into the hairpin. We're going to come back and check on the two drivers a little bit further back. Ross down into 11th at the moment. Fitz cutting the corner. Down in 12th. The gap's come down by about a tenth of a second up ahead, but with 4 laps to go, now it's opening right back up. ITM's going to run it as far wide as he possibly dares, goes completely off the track at one point. Is this going to be a penalty? He might have just gotten away with that. If he has, he's been extremely lucky. I think he has gotten away with that. So that gap is now down to 2.7 seconds with 4 laps to go. He's focusing exit speed over corner speed. So we will have to come back and tune into that in just a moment. Spins in 3rd. Bear in mind he's still got, I believe, make a stop. Alcedorn's in 4th, slowly catching up to the back of Spin. These two are teammates, so Spin might just let them straight through. Capil's in 5th, losing time to Alcedor at the moment. Going back, Gilles is in 6th. Tim's in 7th. Opening up that gap a little bit to Moo, who's in 8th. Pasty's in 9th. 3.5 seconds back from Moo. Jack's in 10th. Followed by Ross, who's in 11th. Starting to close up a little bit to the back of Jack, so Ross might be able to get a top 10 out of this. We're going to come back to the top 2. Gap's opened up to 3.2. And it's opening a little bit more. So Aslan very much in control of this race at the moment at 46.1, that previous lap 46.7. So ITM's lost over half a second on that previous lap. Over to compared to Aslan. Capil managed to dispatch both of these two in the that previous lap. So what's happened to Alcedor? Something I missed. Need to be keeping an eye on my mini-map a little bit more. So Capil's up into 3rd. Alcedor's down to 4th. What we got? Oreo, Cat, Uber. Okay. So Team Cat, if it finishes right now like this, Team Cat is going to be in a very, very good spot to score a lot of points. I'll probably stay here for a little bit because looking at the map, this is the closest to on track. That gap out ahead is just extending and extended. ITM's got a 1 second time penalty, so that is basically going to be Aslam's victory, I believe, sealed. Unless Aslam has a huge mistake, which is incredibly unlikely. Great low panoramic shot as these two are within 0.2 of a second. Alcedor's in striking distance now, so let's jump on board and follow him through the final parts of this lap. Alcedor gets a good exit, but not quite good enough to get alongside going into the final corner. He opens up the final corner just a little bit more. Can Capel get the car to rotate on the second half of the corner? No, he can't. Runs it out just as wide. So it's going to be a slipstream battle, and the late sub the breakers going into turn 1. Capel doing a great job holding the inside line at the moment, hugging that inside line. He's got a lot more tyre compared to Alcedor, so he's got a little bit more to play with. We're going to follow these guys through the S's. Spin slowly starting to catch up in the background. He's going to, if I am right, if Spin did do the soft, he's going to have to stop shortly, probably even this lap, to make sure he does use both tyres. Whilst the gap's opened up a little bit from Alcedor to Capel, who touches the grass on the entry and on the exit of this S section, we're just going to have a... No, we're not going to stay here because that gap's coming shooting down. Is Alcedor going to have a little look? No, he's not close enough. As we come into the head, we're going to have a look through the rest of the grid. Whereas we've got Spin in 6th, we've got Gilles in 6th, Tim's in 7th, Moo's in 8th, Pasty's in 9th with Jack in 10th, he's got Ross for company in 11th at the moment, and we've got Fitz bringing up the rear for 12th. We're going to stay with these two. Assedorf holds the fastest lap of the race at the moment with just under 2 laps to go. The gap up ahead is 7 seconds, so it's definitely an advantage to Aslan at the moment. Asdor's front right tyre screaming in protest as we come around this long left-hander. ITM is having a huge moment. He's lost a ton of time compared to his teammate in further back. Capello's got a lot better tyre than Asdor, as you've just seen me flick between. Capello has a little bit of a tail slide moment as we come out of sector 1. It's not going to be enough of a tail slide for Asador to try and make advantage of. Capello takes a wider entry, hopefully to try and get a faster exit. It's kind of worked. Asador uses all the track and a little bit more. He's paid for all the track, he may as well use it. As that gap to ITM is just plummeting down. ITM's got a half-second penalty, so ITM's race is not going his way at the moment. He's got to be very, very careful because he's got these two on the soft tyres who are fighting for position just behind him. Capel goes defensive on the inside. Asador tries to outbrake him around the outside. Can he manage it? Capel on the inside tries to get the drive. It's not going to be able to, as Asador's now got the inside line. I think Capel's having to back out of it, so Asador now gets up into 3rd after going a lovely move around the outside in the hairpin. Very late on the brakes, but he's got very little tyre left as we're coming on to the last lap of this race. ITM's got a half-second penalty, so this might put him in the fight with these two. What's his tyres looking like? His tyres aren't looking too bad. There's the penalty. Can Asador potentially fight for second? Spin comes in. He comes in on the final lap, well, 23rd, now coming on to the 24th, 13th coming on to the 14th lap, excuse me, to go onto the mediums. Both of these drivers go completely off the circuit. ITM a little bit more than Asador, so Capel might be able to capitalise on this. ITM goes off again. Here comes Capel. Capel gets 1. Can he get the momentum and get 2? He does get 2. Asador tries to stick his car up the inside. Can't quite get the car to go up the inside. So Capel is now up into 2nd. ITM's got a half-second penalty. So that's him out of the contention for potentially the top 3 unless Asador has a huge moment. He's got very little front right tyre left. All these drivers using all of the road and a little bit extra. Asador gets a great sequence of corners. Capello has to try and defend, can't quite get the car to come across. Asador goes round the outside, now brakes late for the inside. Can Capello get a switch back? Does get the car to rotate, gets early on the throttle, not able to, so Asador goes up into 2nd. Great move again at the hairpin. This side outbrakes him, outbrakes Capello on the inside, but we're going to go up to Aslan. No, we're not. We're going to come back. Last corner. Can Capel do a move around the outside as Aslan comes over the line, flashing his lights? He's going to take victory here. Capel not able to get the switch back. He's going to slot right into the slipstream. Can he pull out? In time? No. Capel's going to hold at 3rd. Asador gets 2nd by a fraction of a second. Capel's in 3rd. ITM's for 4th. Tim is going to get 5th. He comes over the line for 5th. Gilles is in 6th. Moo is going to hold off Spin. These two are good mates off track as well. Can Spin get him on the drive? No, he's not going to be able to. It's not enough. So Moo gets 7th. Spin's in 8th. Pasty comes around the final corner for 9th as we got a little bit of a battle as Ross gets us better of Jack. He gets a better drive coming out of the final corner over Jack, so Pasty gets 9th. Ross's horrible race has been slightly replenished up to 10th. Jack's in 11th, and we're going to follow Fitz up to the final corner for the final time. Fitz comes around the final corner for the final time and comes over the line for 12th. So there you have it. Aslan takes a victory here on the second race, with Asador just holding off Capello for second. ITM gets fourth for the Cat team, so the Cat team's had a very, very strong second race. Tim's a very good result, 5th position for the MS team, excuse me, with Gilles and Moo for Team Oreo getting 6th and 7th. Spin getting 8th for the Uber team. Pasty's in 9th, Ross is in 10th, and then bringing up the rear is Jack and Fitz for MS team. So there we have it. Anyone coming out on track? Do donuts? Nope, no one's coming out on track to do donuts. So there we have it. There's day 2 done for Champions Cup. Join me again tomorrow at the same time, 8 o'clock, for day 3 of this Champion Cup. So I hope everyone has enjoyed. We'll see you soon.